Hey everyone! If you rely heavily on Claude AI for your daily workflow, and especially if you've been integrating the Fable 5 model into your projects, you'll want to pay very close attention to this. Today, July 20th, Anthropic just dropped a massive update that completely overhauls Fable 5's subscription and usage limits. It's a real game changer that directly impacts your access, your daily grind, and potentially your wallet. So we're going to break down exactly what this means for you in today's explainer.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the very first thing you're probably asking yourself right now is, wait, is my specific plan affected? Look, if you've logged in today and noticed something just feels off, or you're suddenly hitting these invisible walls you definitely didn't hit yesterday, trust me, you are not alone. These sudden restrictions are catching a ton of folks completely off guard. Our goal right now is to just cut through all that noise and figure out exactly where you stand.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the whole Fable 5 roller coaster. Second, the new plans and limits. Third, why this change actually happened. And fourth, figuring out the right path forward for you.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the Fable 5 roller coaster, tracking Anthropic's pretty chaotic rollout.
Let's move to and see how this built, because this story really starts back in June of 2026. Remember those US government export control restrictions? Yeah, that caused a massive global suspension of both Claude Fable 5 and Mythos 5. Then on July 1st, the restrictions lifted and boom, Fable 5 was relaunched for Pro, Max, Team, and Select Enterprise plans. But it came with these really tight 50% weekly limits. The demand was just so overwhelming that Anthropic couldn't accurately predict how users were going to behave, which forced them to constantly tweak and extend access just to keep the lights on. It was a chaotic 3 weeks, to say the least. But today, July 20th, that erratic rollout finally ends. Anthropic has officially put a permanent structure in place.
Moving right along to Section 2, new plans and limits. These are the core changes you absolutely need to know today.
All right, this is the most critical part of this entire tech update, so listen up. For those of you on the Max and Team Premium plans, here is your permanent reality. Fable 5 is now permanently included in your subscription. Awesome, right? Well, there's a catch. It is strictly capped at a 50% usage limit. Let me say that one more time. You are getting half access, not full access. Anthropic is drawing a hard line in the sand here, and you're really going to need to adjust your prompting habits to account for this permanent ceiling.
But wait, it's not just the Fable 5 limits feeling the squeeze today. As of right now, that bonus usage phase a lot of you were enjoying, it has officially ended. So what does that actually mean? It means your regular overall Claude limits have tightened up, dropping by up to 33%. Basically, your normal capacity is down to just 67% of what you might have gotten used to over the last couple of weeks. So overall availability across the board has just become significantly tighter.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sharp contrast between our two main user camps. If you're a Max or Team Premium user, like we just talked about, you have permanent inclusion at those 50% limits. But if you look over at the Pro and Team Standard side, wow, Fable 5 has been completely removed from regular weekly limits. Literally gone. If you're on Pro or Team Standard, Fable 5 is no longer just a standard part of your weekly toolkit.
So where does that leave Pro and Team Standard users now? Well, Anthropic is delivering some massive news to kind of soften the blow here. Instead of regular weekly access, these users are receiving a one-time $100 usage credit specifically for Fable 5. It's a lump sum really meant to help transition you into this new reality. But keep in mind, once that $100 is gone, it is gone for good.
Which naturally leads us to the very next question. What on earth happens when you burn through that $100 credit? Well, Pro and Team Standard users will then have to pay standard API rates to keep using Fable 5. We're looking at $10 per 1 million input tokens and a much steeper $50 per 1 million output tokens. You're essentially being shifted from a nice, predictable subscription model straight into a pay-as-you-go API model for this specific tool.
Now, I do want to take a quick second to reassure any developers tuning into this explainer. This announcement is purely a subscription packaging update. Anthropic has absolutely not increased their base API prices. Those $10 and $50 token rates, they remain exactly the same as before. The structural change today is entirely about how Fable 5 is packaged and gated for their mainstream subscriber base. It's not some sudden hike in raw computing costs for devs, so you can breathe a sigh of relief there.
All right, Section 3. Why did this change happen? Let's understand this capacity crunch.
You know, Anthropic has openly admitted that handling the immense demand for Fable 5 has been incredibly challenging for them.
Despite the company continuously making massive investments in extra computing power, the user demand is just completely eclipsing their current server capacity. Simply put, there just isn't enough supply to let everyone run wild with Fable 5. Because resources are so incredibly limited right now, Anthropic is intentionally using Fable 5 as a plan differentiator. This is a super classic tech strategy. When compute is scarce, you reserve your absolute most premium, computationally expensive features to prioritize the users on your higher-paying subscription tiers. It basically ensures that the folks paying a premium for Max or Team Premium actually get that priority access, while the lower tiers are shifted off the most resource-heavy models.
And that brings us to Section 4, the right path for you, with some actionable steps for your workflow.
So, the crucial point is, what do you actually do with all this information today? Let's pivot to a personalized, impact-driven action plan. Here are the specific choices you need to make to adapt. First up, if you're a Max or Team Premium user, you still have Fable 5, but you really got to manage your usage smartly. With a strict 50% limit and your regular limits dropping by 33%, every single prompt counts. Be precise. Second, if you're a Pro or Team Standard user, you need to track that $100 credit very carefully. Honestly, use it only when Fable 5's unique capabilities are absolutely necessary, because once it's gone, those API rates kick right in. And third, for everyone watching, I highly recommend shifting your lighter, everyday tasks over to Claude Sonnet 5. It is incredibly capable, and right now, it's sitting at an introductory pricing that makes it a highly cost-effective alternative. Basically, save Fable 5 for the heavy lifting.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. Given these permanent changes, the drop in overall capacity, and the strict new gating of Fable 5, you really have to ask yourself, which plan is now actually the best fit for your AI budget and your daily needs? I mean, is it worth upgrading to Max just for that 50% access, or are you way better off relying on Sonnet 5 and paying API rates only when you absolutely need to? Take a hard look at your usage today, really evaluate your workflow, and think about how you're going to adjust your strategy for this massive shift.